beast! Ah!
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Not the Bees, the Nicolas Cage filmography podcast. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Megs.
This week we watched 1995's wonderful Leaving Las Vegas, directed by Mike Figgis, starring Nicolas Cage and Elisabeth Shue. We open on Ben, played by Nicolas Cage, loading his shopping cart at a liquor store. Next, we go to a ritzy restaurant where Ben's crashing a dinner and asks his friend Peter for money. He tells Peter he'll send him a script in the morning, but Peter tells Ben not to contact him again. Ben's at a bar hitting on a woman who's not having it. He drinks too much. He's causing a scene, begging her to come home with him. She leaves. The bartender cuts him off, so he drives around drinking vodka straight from the bottle next to a cop, then goes to a strip club and drinks some more. Then he gets a hooker. He tells her he doesn't know if his wife left him because he started drinking or if he started drinking because she left him. He comes to on the kitchen floor of his apartment in front of his open fridge. He realizes the hooker from the night before took his wedding ring. The next morning, he goes to the bank. He needs to sign a check, but he's too shaky, so he leaves and goes to the bar from the night before. The bartender tells him he needs to stop drinking. Ben promises he'll never come back if he just serves him right now. The bartender begrudgingly does. Back at the bank, Ben's got a tape recorder and he's making very lewd notes in front of the other people in line. He signs the check and asks the teller out. Then we see him at work, stacks of screenplays on his desk. An assistant comes in, tells him the boss wants to see him. He gets fired. His boss writes him a check and asks him what he's going to do now. Ben says he's going to move to Vegas. Next, we meet Yuri, played by Julian Sands. He's introducing Sera, Elisabeth Shue, a hooker who's there to service his men. We see some scenes of her cut with the film's opening sequence. Then we cut to her talking about her work to someone off camera. Then she's sitting across from Yuri, and it's clear she's run from him before, but he thinks he owns her. Meanwhile, Ben is on his way to Vegas. He stops for gas, and there's some sketchy-looking guys speaking Russian, and one of them says something about Yuri. Then Ben's back on the road. Night has fallen on the strip, and Ben almost runs Sera over in the street. He then drives to a motel and gets a room. Next, Sera is lying in a couch recounting a story about a John. On the strip, Ben finds Sera and asks if she's working and offers $500 to come back to his hotel and have sex with him. She agrees. She tells him he can do whatever he wants for $500. She tries to go down on him, but what he actually wants is for her to just stay. They have a few drinks. She asks why he's in Vegas, and he says he's there to drink himself to death. Cashed in all of his money, gonna sell his car tomorrow, should take him about 4 weeks. He tells her that time is up, but she says that he can keep talking. She doesn't have anywhere to be. They lay in the bed and talk about LA and fall asleep. Sera wakes up and rushes out the next morning while Ben's still sleeping. She doesn't have the kind of money that Yuri wants for a whole night, and he smacks her around. She pulls a knife, then gives it to him and raises her skirt for him to cut her. This is a punishment she's endured before. At a pawn shop, Yuri is trying to sell some stuff, and Ben strolls in and sells his Rolex. Sera is at a hotel bar trying to pick up Johns to make up the money she owes Yuri. She tries to pick up a convention goer played by Arlie Ermy, but he passes. Back on the strip, she finds Ben drinking a martini. He's sold the car. He'll be taking cabs from here on out. He offers to take her to dinner. He'll pay for her if she likes, but he just wants to see her. She says she can't and hops in a cab, leaving him drinking his sad martini on a public bench. Sera goes back to Yuri. She says she had a really good night and shows him the money, but he's not interested. He makes her listen to the walls as people are talking about him. She asks Yuri if he's all right, but he tells her to leave and don't come back. As she leaves, she sees a group of men heading towards Yuri's hotel room door. Sera goes back to Ben's motel and asks if he still wants to have dinner, and he says he does. He's not eating. She asks why he's a drunk. Why is he killing himself? He says he doesn't know. They walk around town. She asks him to stay with her. He seems reluctant, but she's insistent that he come, and they talk about tomorrow's plans. No sex. He'll sleep on the couch. He agrees. At Sera's, she has a shower while he looks around. He tells her that she's beautiful. We're back at another place while she's talking to someone off camera about Ben and about how it feels like they had such an easy connection. Back at her place, she watches him sleeping on the couch. He wakes and she asks when his rent is due at the motel. He should just bring all of his stuff to her place. He tries to tell her he's a mess, he's sick all the time, etc. She says, okay, then leave, and she'll go back to being alone. Doesn't he like her? He says she can never, ever ask him to stop drinking. She says she understands, and they kiss. Ben packs up at the motel. Sera's gone shopping, and Ben arrives back before her and has fallen asleep on the sidewalk. And Laurie Metcalf plays Sera's landlord, who finds him asleep on the sidewalk. Sera wakes him up, tells him she has presents for him, and takes him inside. He insists on paying her next month's rent. He tells her that he's in love with her. He tells her he's a drunk and he's fine with her being a hooker. He trusts her judgment. They have a conversation while he opens his gifts, a shirt and a flask. She asks if he wants to go gambling, and he tells her he hadn't planned to, but if she holds most of his money, he can blow about $200. He tells her giving her his money makes him want to come, so she tells him to come. They go out and have a good time. They share a passionate kiss, and then Ben has a meltdown at a card table as he's being dragged out, he screams, "I'm his father." Ben gets sick in the night, but Sera doesn't judge him. She just calls him back to bed and asks him how he is. He says he's good and asks about their night. He remembers up till security dragging him out, and then everything is blank. She says she told security he was an alcoholic, and she'd take him home and they'd never come back. He asks if she's an angel. She says she's just using him. She needs him, but she doesn't want to talk about it. Ben says to go back to sleep. He'll get them breakfast. She tells him she's working tonight, and he says he knows. Ben goes to the bar for a drink and gets into a fight with a biker over his girl, and he has to leave. Ben gets some groceries and comes back to Sera's, his face covered in blood from a bloody nose. Sera chastises him while she cleans his face. She tells him to shower, and they'll go shopping and get him a new shirt. They stop for a drink, and he gives her a nice pair of earrings. She tells him she'll wear them tonight while she's working, and he makes a lewd comment about her feeling it while her face is pushed into a pillow, which upsets her, and he goes to leave, but she asks him to wait. Back at her place, as she's leaving, he says he should follow her and ask one of her tricks what it's like to sleep with her, but she says they wouldn't know. But maybe he should ask her sometime. She'd be happy to show him. She hopes he'll be back when she gets home around 3 a.m. and to be careful. He tells her to be careful, too. Then she says they can go away to the desert for a couple of days, and he agrees. They go to a desert motel and have a hedonistic time by the pool until he falls through a glass table. Sera sends Ben back to the room while she starts to clean up the mess from the table, but a staff member stops her and tells her to keep their shit to the room and leave in the morning. Don't ever come back. So they leave. Back at Sera's, Ben wakes up and goes to the kitchen looking for her and booze. She tells him that she brought some plain rice she thinks that he could eat if he got hungry, and asks him to let her know. He just takes 2 bottles into the shower. At dinner, she's made some rice, and he says he thinks he's ready for it. She tells him she'll want him to see a doctor. He says no, but maybe he should move to a motel. She says no, he's staying. It's the only thing she's asked him to do is to stay with her. She has to go to work and leaves the table. He eats an ice cube. Sera goes to work and Ben goes to a casino. He's remembering his life as he gambles. A brunette approaches him to pick him up, played by Mariska Hargitay.
Mm-hmm.
She's working. We cut back to Sera's place, and she's just gotten home, and Ben has picked up the brunette from the casino and is there with her on Sera's bed. The woman sees Sera and goes to the bathroom. Ben says maybe he can sleep on the couch for a few hours and then leave, but Sera tells him to get out. Next, we see Sera back at work. She's hired by a group of frat guys who want to film her having sex with one of them. She tries to leave, but they throw her around and then rape her. Once Sera gets home, while she's sitting in the shower, we see flashbacks of her attack. It's brutal. Then the supers of her complex tell her she has to leave. She goes to Ben's, but he isn't there. She goes back to work and tries picking up at a casino, but they make her leave. Back at her place, the phone rings. It's Ben. She makes him give her the address, and she goes to him. He's in bad shape. She asks if he wants help, but he says no, he wanted to see her. She's his angel. He asks what happened to her, and she says she's okay. She says he's sorry for what happened. He tried to take a drink, but she stops him. He tries to jerk off, but she says let her. She straddles him. He says, "You know I love you, yeah?" She says, "Yeah." He comes, and she lays down on him and tells him that she loves him. Sometime later, Ben wakes up, sighs, and dies. We hear Sera speaking again. She's talking to the person off camera. She tells him that she loved Ben. She really loved him. Music plays. A still of Ben smiling is shown. The end. Megan, this movie is really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think?
It's This movie's devastating.
It is.
This movie is so real. Like it's
His eyes
oh
throughout
my
the entire
God.
film look so sad.
Yeah.
He embodies this man in this is a departure bravo performance for Cage. The way he embodies this man is nothing short of shocking.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
way that he moves, the way that he talks, the way that he looks at Sera is, I think you were right. Devastating is the right word.
Yeah. It's such a hard, like, you really have to be in the mood for a film like this. And
Well, I put it off for 3 days
yeah,
because I've seen it before and I was like, oof, this is going to be a gut punch.
it's a good movie. It's such a good movie, but it's so devastating to watch. And then, you really don't know throughout if she is trying to save him or not. I mean, I think in a lot of ways she was trying to save him, but I also think that part of her knew that she couldn't.
Yeah.
And the connection that she made with him was just that they were alone.
Yeah.
And she didn't want him to be alone
She
when he
didn't
was
want him
dying.
to die alone.
Yeah.
He's so assured of himself. He knows exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah.
The scene after he gets fired where he goes home and he's just burning scripts and clothes and just washing himself of his prior life. He's made a commitment to the alcohol and he's going to see that commitment through.
Yeah. And I mean, there are easier ways to kill yourself.
Yes, there are. I love the scene where he tells her, "You can never, ever ask me to stop drinking."
Yeah.
And she sees something in him that makes her want to hitch herself to this wagon and to not let him die alone, even though she knows that it's inevitable.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that she sees, like, the helplessness of her situation in the hopelessness that he's experiencing.
Yeah.
It's a really, really sad love story about two very, very sad people that find each other in their worst moments. And even though it's not a situation where issues are resolved, the connection there is real.
Yeah.
And it's sad and it's brutal in a lot of ways. And I mean, we see it even in just the way that he speaks to her, and, like, not that he's, overly cruel to her, but I mean, he's a drunk. He says things without thinking. And the way that Elisabeth Shue is able to portray the emotion on her face as his character says something to her character that would just genuinely devastate another human being.
Yeah.
When they're sitting at the food court and the way he's talking about, how he's clearly jealous that she's able to go out and, like, sleep with men when he can't sleep with her because his shit doesn't work.
Right. Which is to say, like, she would willingly sleep with him in a heartbeat, but he cannot get an erection because of the alcohol.
Right. And this is her job. This was her job when they met.
Yeah.
And she has to survive somehow.
In that scene in the food court is the only scene where he even a little bit judges her.
Yeah, it is. The rest of the time when he says things to her that's more about his own life and his own experience, and that devastates her just as much. I think the scene in the food court was the turning point because he directed it at her.
Yep.
Rather than at himself. But then he gets up to go to leave and, like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to walk away from this. And someone else in the food court is just like, I think you should wait. She seems like she really wants you to wait.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage won an Oscar and a Golden Globe for this role. Elisabeth Shue should have won as well.
I agree.
She was fantastic in this film.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, we talk a lot about Nicolas Cage and his ability to transform his face and his emotion work and his body language and stuff like that. And I think that in this film, we saw someone at his level be able to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. This movie is so sad and so beautiful, and it's heartbreaking. It's devastating. It's definitely, I mean, it's probably the only movie I've ever seen that I would genuinely compare to Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, Requiem for a Dream is another one that I've seen once and I will never watch again because it physically hurt
Yeah,
to watch it.
It really does. I've seen it a few times. It's been several years since I've seen it, but it's still, even just to think about it. And this movie is probably the only movie I've ever seen, because I like to watch like fucked up things. But this movie is probably the only one that gave me the same sort of emotions that Requiem gave me. And like, drug and alcohol movies are they're such a strange departure from like what other movies are. They're not like, they're in a class of their own, I think. I mean, yeah, you could put them in whatever genre you wanted to put them into that they fit into, but there's just something about the showcasing of a very severe addiction that is just so much different.
Yeah.
Than other kinds of films that you see. And this movie definitely does that, because it breaks your heart. It breaks your heart the entire way through. There's never a moment where it doesn't break your heart. And there's really no levity in the situation, but there are periods where you watch them interact when they're just, moseying around, and they look like a regular couple. They look like a regular, happy, very much in love couple. And like, you see it and you're like, oh, it's, it's adorable, but it's not. It's so sad.
So what would we rate this movie?
I'm going to say that we should rate it an A. I think this is a beautifully devastating heartbreak of a movie.
And I'm going to assume that the caginess is an A++.
Yeah, yep, I agree.
It's unlike anything he's done that we've seen before. Mm-hmm. It's a very subdued performance. It's very quiet, and it's very sad.
But also definitely worth the watch.
Yes.
It is worth the watch.
So that's it from us this week. The very devastating, very sad Leaving Las Vegas. If you like what we're doing, please rate and review us. And if you want to follow along, we're on Instagram at NotTheBeesPod. And you can kick us a few bucks if you feel so inclined at patreon.com/NotTheBees. For this week, I've been Elizabeth.
And I've been Megs.
And that's it.